under the hood, take this fuse box cover off. There's a lock here and a lock on the back. Push down there and there, slide that off. There should be a key on here so you can find where the relay is. You want to pop this cover off if you still have that there. Just grab that, pull it up. And we're looking for the fuel pump relay, which is 41, located right there. That's this relay here. We're going to pull that out, set that aside. We want to start the engine and let the engine just die on its own. That's going to purge all the pressure out of the fuel line. Now, if your car is not running because of a bad fuel pump, you will not have to do this step. Disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. Just use an 8mm wrench. And slide that to the side. We're going to remove this bar, use a 15mm socket. Same on this side. Slide the bar down. On the back of the fuel tank, I want to separate the fuel filler neck from the tank. Use a 7mm socket, and you can loosen up this worm clamp right here. And this is loose now. When we go to lower the tank, we'll be able to pop that off. You could take a pick and just get under here and just go around if it seems like it's sticking a little bit, but this seems like it's loose enough. So we're good there. Now we're going to disconnect these hoses over here. There is a little button on the hose. You just got to push that button, and then you should be able to slide the hose off, just like this one. Right here, you just push on that area and then it should disconnect. Might have to wiggle it a little. And disconnect that hose. You may have to use some pliers. So you push that down and slide this off, just like that. Pop that off. Those are all loose. And there's a connector right here on the vent solenoid. So I just want to disconnect that. Push down on the tab, rock it back and forth. Just like that, that's good. And there's a couple lines in the front that you want to take off. I'm not going to take those off yet. I'm going to lower the tank down first a little bit. But you're going to do the same thing, push on those clips and then slide the lines out. Now you want to support the tank with some type of a jack. We have a transmission jack with a gas tank support. And before I actually do that, I am going to loosen up these bolts just a little bit. I'm going to use a 15mm socket. Just get them to break free because there is a lot of rust. And you want to do this by hand. There's one right there, and then there's also one over here, and it's just higher up. Now I can support the tank. With that supported, I'm going to take these bolts out. It's best to do this by hand and not with a impact gun, because you can break the J-nuts if you use an impact gun. So do it by hand. Slide that out. And just slide this down. If you have to, you can just leave that there for now until the tank is lowered, and do the same on the other one. I'm going to lower the tank, and we'll take that one off later. All right, everything looks good. Start coming down. Take that one off. And pop that off. Now we'll pop these lines off, same as those back ones. Just push down on the clip. And slide the line off. This one, there's no fuel coming out of that one. This one, there may be a little bit. You might want to wear some safety glasses or put a rag around it while you take it off. You might want a drain bucket underneath as well, just in case there is some fuel. And a little bit of fuel. Now I'll lower this down a little bit. Twist that bracket out of the way. Slide it down. And then there's a connector. You're gonna have to disconnect the connector, the electrical connector. Connector right here. Slide that off. And there's another connector right here. And wiggle that clip off, that connector. There we go. Take that off. Everything's disconnected. You can lower the tank. We want to take these lines off. This is the same type of connection that we did earlier. If you use something to squeeze this in and then just rock it back and forth, just pull up slightly. And you should be able to pop that off. This one broke, that's okay. Set that aside. Now we're going to take this one off. Do the same. Just trying to spread this with a pick a little bit. Just make it a little easier. Just work this one back and forth. And slide that off. Now I'm going to take a brass punch and I'm going to slide this lock ring off. They do make special tools for this so that you can slide this off with a ratchet, but not everyone has those. So use a brass punch so that you don't get any sparks. Then a hammer. Might need a bigger brass punch. There you go, that's off. And slide that off. You want to make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area. And grab the pump. Just wiggle it up and down. Slide it out. Tip some of the gas back in there. And I'm just going to take a bucket, put it in a bucket. Just take a rag and wipe this area clean. Make sure there's no dirt and debris in there. Take the float arm and we want to slide that in position right here. And then lock it in place. Just like that. Then take the seal. You want to slide that in position right there. Just like that. Now we want to slide this the same way it came out. Slide the float in first at an angle. Get it lined up. And slide it down. That looks good. There's a little arrow right here. That arrow is going to point to this little tab right there. So you want that. Just like that. You want to make sure you don't crush the seal. It pushes down. I'm going to take the lock ring. If the lock ring is really bad, you want to replace it with a new one. This one's not too bad. Slide it in position, just like that. And take your brass punch or your tool and tap it back on. Alright, it's all the way on. And slide this on. Make sure it locks down. Now line this hose up and make sure it clicks down in place. Now connect the connectors on the top of the tank and push down on that lock and connect this connector. Before the tank's too far up, I'm going to slide the tank strap in right here. It's a little bit awkward. Just like that. Go up a little more. As it gets a little higher, I can twist this. And before I go all the way up, I want to put the filler neck on. Get that lined up as you go up. It's going to be a lot easier to do that now. And pop that on. And just snug that up, not too tight. Just make sure the hose is tight on there. You don't want to tighten it down too much and crush the plastic. Then you can hook up the other hoses. Line these up. Make sure they lock down in place. This electrical connector over here, you want to make sure that plugs in to the vent valve. Lock that down, then hook up the hoses. And take these fuel lines, let's hook these up front. Make sure you lock those down. Alright, I'm just using some hose pliers to hold the hose so I can click it down. And lock those in. Those look good. Now slide this tank strap in position. Get this all lined up. You might have to wiggle the tank a little bit. Get it lined up. Make sure they're both lined up. And take the bolt. Get it started. Now this side, line this up. Get that one started. Now I want to torque these bolts to 24 foot-pounds. Do the same on the other one. Now you can lower the support. Now put this crossbar in, get the bolt started. And tighten them down. Make sure it's tight. We can put this relay back in, put this cover back on if you have that, and put the fuse box cover on, lock it down, take the negative terminal for the battery, get that started, and snug it down, make sure it's not loose. Now you want to turn the key on, let it sit for about 3 seconds, turn the key off, and then turn the key on again. That's going to prime the fuel from the pump to the front of the engine, and then you should be able to start the engine.